What's going on right now that most people have no idea about? Story 1. The greater one-horned rhino population in India and Nepal is growing, as highlighted in the State of the Rhino Report, 2023, by the International Rhino Foundation. The collaboration among India, Bhutan, and Nepal, along with strict government protection and management, has led to an increase in their population over the past decade. The greater one-horned rhino population, which once numbered as low as 100 in the early 1900s, has increased to more than 4,014 now. Finally, some good fucking news in this thread that isn't about someone's bowel movements. They're breeding the rhinos to use in war to eliminate the existential threat of Tibet once and for all. Black Panther tried to warn us with the war rhinos. We should have seen it coming. Tiger and rhino populations have seen a good surge thanks to restoration efforts by India and Nepal. Tiger tourism in India is booming as well. Ranthambore and Kemo have jeep tours that take you deep into tiger territory. And in the Sundarbans, they take you on a boat deep into aquatic tiger territory. The Sundarbans tigers are the world's best man-eaters, actively hunting local human populations for centuries, so locals wear masks on the back of their heads to ward off stalking tigers. And they've been known to spring out of the water to tackle their victims off small boats. The boat you take to see them is bigger, don't worry. Did you know that Bengal tigers can jump over 20 feet? Fortunately, the boat is only 15 feet from the tiger, so he will jump right over us. Story 2. There's always cool stuff happening in the science community that doesn't make it to the news but really should. Check out thegoodnewsnetwork.org to see some neat things. Here are a few highlights. A new stem cell injection that halts the progression of multiple sclerosis is in clinical trials. The California redwoods weathered the wildfires better than scientists expected and are recovering very well. The FDA approved a treatment that cures sickle cell disease. A complete Stegosaurus fossil with skin still intact has been unearthed. NASA has developed technology for sending data transmissions much further than radio frequencies, and recently sent their first transmission 10 million miles away. Scientists are going to start experimenting with lab-grown cooking oils, which could help curb a lot of the environmental damage caused by mass soy, corn, and palm oil farming. Scientists have created natural sponges that can soak up nanoplastics. Dr. Miyazaki Toru is finishing up the AIM injection that targets chronic kidney disease in cats. Now they're predicting lifespans around 30 years. Story 3. We are experiencing both child and adult literacy crises predating but exacerbated by COVID. The people telling me in the comments that these predated COVID, as explained in my one-sentence post, are proving my point. Kids that didn't have very involved parents got destroyed during COVID and teachers were pretty much forced to push them through. Yup. I'm thankful that I live in an area that has very involved parents, so it really didn't impact the trajectory of the schools too much. The only big change that the schools made was that not turning in homework is a 50 and not a 0. Not sure what the objective for that is outside of making them look better. Teacher here. Giving a 50 instead of a 0 makes it mathematically easier for students to recover from 1 or 2 bad grades. A passing HS grade here is 70. I find giving 50s keeps students from getting discouraged while still teaching consequences. I love how I make the worst typos when taking about teaching. I think the idea of the 50 instead of a 0 is that getting a 0 score on an assignment is too punitive. If you got an A on one assignment and an F in another, you'd think that your average grade would be a C. That's true if it's a 50% graded F. However, if you had an A, 100%, and an F, 0%, and you average the two, it's 50%, which is still an F. Story 4. Science is kicking cancer's ass. Almost every cancer has had treatments and drug breakthroughs in the last decade, and it keeps improving with more funding and research. This is wonderful news. I hope one day for similar breakthroughs in drugs for type 1 diabetes. I want to live a full life. Thank you all for the incredibly kind comments. I'm doing my best. There's research working on countering autoimmune diseases. I want you to live a full life. Man, I know, and I'm so fucking glad. The meds my baby brother is on that came out within the past year are working fucking wonders. They literally saved him from needing brain surgery. Honestly, the call on the good news of his MRI after being on those meds for only 3 months was the best fucking news of my life. And medical technology is literally only getting better. Moderna recently posted news that combining a vaccine, different mRNA code than what was used for COVID, similar lipid packaging, with Merck's Keytruda kept the survival rate around 50% 3 years after starting therapy and having stage 3 to 4 melanoma. 50% may seem low, but that is literally going to save half of all cancer patients who start early enough. Keep in mind this was for stage 3 to 4. If they catch the cancer early enough, it might be much higher. Despite the world going to shit, we really are on the cusp of a medical revolution not seen since antibiotics were discovered. My cousin's grandpa had stage 4 melanoma that had spread to his lungs and other organs. He was given 4 pills, $100k for each pill, covered by the Australian government, so he didn't have to pay. He went into remission and is fine now. Might have been the same Keytruda medication, but this would have definitely been a death sentence only a few years ago. Yep. The same genetic cancer that killed my grandpa 15 years ago is now treatable with my mom. She'll live a lot longer now thanks to modern science/medicine. Sure, except for ovarian cancer. All of the focus is on breast cancer, and there isn't even a screening test for ovarian. It is a silent cancer, which means there aren't many symptoms until late stages. I'm stage 4, and pretty much out of options. Story 5. Lake Mead water levels are 20+ feet higher than last year. That's a lot. It's a lake, so is this good or bad? It's a reservoir on the Colorado River that's held back by the Hoover Dam in Nevada. It supplies water to 20+ million people in Nevada, California and even parts of Mexico. Story 6. The war on water resources. It needs to be a big deal, but it ain't. I remember when some folks down in the American SW suggested piping water from the Great Lakes to help maintain population growth/farming in the region. People up north here got really mad about even the suggestion. Seems like only a precursor. I wish people would stop moving to places where big cities are just not practical. There's no way a deal will happen to send water from the Great Lakes to the SWUSA because of a deal between the US and Canadian government to protect the Great Lakes. They are a shared resource by both nations. Currently listening to the book Where the Water Goes, which is about Colorado water laws. They are absolutely insane. And pretty bleak, combined with the knowledge that Nestle sells bottled water under 67 names, so we don't pay attention to the fact that one company wants to privatize all the water. I waited tables at a place in Colorado a long time ago. An old guy was in one night and we got to talking. His best friend was basically in charge of Colorado's water, he said. I thought nothing of it, but the old man ended his explanation with this: that guy has more power than the public could ever dream of having. Story 7. We're in the middle of a great extinction event, meaning species are going extinct at a rate of up to 10,000 times the normal rate. We're actually making the Earth into a monoculture, which means across the Earth we're planting many of the same crops across vast areas such as the US Midwest and transforming the ecosystem into a place where generalists such as coyotes and deer thrive and specialists at certain ecosystems die off. We've currently transformed 40% of the Earth's landmass into crops and farms. About 2/3 of the farmland I had stated was farmland was actually pastureland, but I wasn't trying to be misleading, it's still part of the monoculture. The US prairie is virtually non-existent and it was the home of I think like 500 grass species. It's oftentimes the species you don't think about or didn't know existed that go extinct. Isn't it amazing that dinosaurs roamed the Earth for millions of years and it took an asteroid to kill them off? We've had the Earth for a few thousand years and we already caused the next great extinction. Wild. Scientists estimate that humans have roamed the Earth for about 200,000 years. Also, it's likely that the building blocks allowing human life on Earth came from meteorites. So in a roundabout way, humans are just part of a really drawn-out asteroid extinction event. Yeah, but not the same species of dinosaurs. Many species came and went during the age of dinosaurs. Humans are one species. Don't worry, there is always a chance an asteroid comes and takes us out too. There's a great book called The Ends of the World which looks in detail at all of the previous mass extinctions and makes the point that the claims of apocalypse underestimate the natural rate of extinction. Because the overwhelming majority of species that existed left no trace in the fossil record. Although it points out that runaway climate change does have mass extinction potential.